This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're talking about Equinox from 1970, directed by Dennis Muren and Jack Woods.
Ooh.
Tagline for this film, RJ.
Mm-hmm.
A cult barrier between good and evil.
A what?
A cult barrier between good and evil.
A what?
That's a t-shirt.
Yeah, but with an arrow pointing down.
And a fedora on top.
On a fedora on top, maybe a pocket watch,
yeah.
But not a real one, just like a fake one on the t-shirt.
A Robert Pattinson vape pen in his Batman utility belt.
Could you imagine?
Money.
Mm-hmm.
And a synopsis of this film. 4 friends are attacked by a demon while on a picnic due to possession of a tome of mystic information, and find themselves pitched into a world of evil which overlaps our own. Incorporates a 16mm amateur short film by Dennis Muren and Mark Thomas McGee, featuring author Fritz Lieber Jr., filmed in 1965.
Who could forget Fritz Lieber Jr.?
RJ, do you know who Fritz Lieber is?
It's one of my favorites. He is
a fairly well-regarded fantasy author, apparently, who actually coined the term sword and sorcery.
No, I'm pretty sure Kissinger coined that term.
Henry Kissinger?
Yeah.
One of his many accomplishments.
One of history's greatest monsters.
You've never heard of Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser?
I mean, I'm doing it right now.
I see.
You know what I mean? I am a Fafhrd Grey Mouser, and I'm okay with that. I've never heard of that.
It's like a pretty popular pair of characters. It's kind of a fantasy comedy duo. These two, Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser. It's been adapted.
Kind of like Laurel and Hardy. Oh.
Kinda. It's very contemporary in its dialogue. And it's just like, well, they're set in these, like, what's the name of the city again? Lankamar is the name of the city. There's a bunch of role-playing game systems based on it and stuff like that. He's pretty top tier. I mean, even on the Wikipedia, Fritz Lieber is spoken about in the same breath as Robert E. Howard and Michael Moorcock. You know about those guys?
Michael Moorcock could have used less.
Have you ever? Do you know Michael Moorcock at all?
No.
Really?
Oh. No. I mean, if you told me, I maybe would.
You don't know as the character Elric of Mel and the Bone?
I know a Elric.
You know an Elric. What about Robert E. Howard?
I know Clint Howard.
Robert E. Howard, the creator of Conan the Barbarian.
Oh,
that Robert E. Howard.
I know Clint Howard from Happy Days.
Right.
You know about him?
Yeah. I know about Evil Speak.
Yeah, Evil Speak. It's a good show, but there's some questionable stuff.
And Star Trek the original series. Anyways.
Yes. What were we talking about?
It's neither here nor there. We're talking about Equinox.
Equinox.
Well, RJ, what do you know about equinoxes?
I know that there are 2 in a year.
Yep.
And they break up the solstices. There's 2 solstices, 2 equinox. So the solstices, as I believe, are spring or no, summer and winter.
Well,
so longest day and shortest day.
Well, there's a winter solstice and a summer, and then there's spring.
The equinoxes are where we have equal sunlight and nighttime. So 12 hours of sun, 12 hours a day, I believe. Could be wrong. Solstice is longest day of the year and shortest day of the year.
Right.
And then I think the equinoxes equal. I believe the equinoxes are equal.
That's some good deduction.
Was I correct?
Yeah, I think so.
You see this, Jarrett?
Equinox. It's all in the equinox, yeah.
Oh, what about this one? Huh?
It's pretty disappointing.
People don't know what happened there, and I'm not going to tell them.
Don't tell them. Don't tell you a single word. So I've seen this movie before. this is one of those DVD sets that I've been eyeing for a long time. I've never bought it. It's a 2-disc set, and you hear about this Equinox, and you look at stills for it, and you read reviews, and you go, that seems like a lot of money to pay for a Criterion for essentially a amateur film, right? But there was no way to like rent this from Blockbuster back in the day, so you were kind of relying on this this would have come out in the early days of the YouTube, and this was not one of on the top of the lists of things finding their way onto YouTube. So it was always one of those things. I was like, I don't know, like this DVD art looks pretty cool, but I don't know, like $45-50. You go, I don't know. There could be better things I could spend that hard-earned hotel front desk money on.
Ooh, like what?
I don't know. Another Criterion. That you're like, Equinox, was that some kind of rabbit?
I mean, Esquilax.
Yeah.
Jarrett.
Esquilax.
Esquilax. I like that this is an ongoing thing now. Don't ever forget Esquilax.
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 Have you ever seen the DVD of this?
No, but I believe you are showing me.
I am.
Let's see here. Ooh, hey, Esquilax. That's pretty cool. I like that they went with this guy and not the image on Criterion, the banner. It's the other dude, the caveman-y dude. The Simian is far cooler.
Not Andre the Giant Man.
Not Andre the Giant Man.
Yeah. But
this guy's way cooler. I like him.
Right. So I've got a bone to pick with the Criterion channel, RJ.
What's up? What happened?
Well, so they got this on the channel. They have that Equinox. But so the DVD itself, it comes with both versions of this movie. And you would think, what could possibly be a big difference between these two movies? And it's particularly when you read, it's like, okay, so this like little amateur film made by some special effects guys that went on to some renown years later. They shot this in 1965. A couple years later, the Equinox, Journey into the Supernatural, gets picked up by a small distributor, and they get another director to come in and shoot some new footage with the same actors or different actors. It seems like when I was going back through this, I'm like, did they just age rapidly over the course of 5 years?
Yes.
Maybe they did. It was the 60s. It's very stressful. And then they reshot it, re-edited some stuff. It's about 10 minutes longer. And you would think, oh, maybe that will be a little bit more refined of a version of the film. And this is the definitive one that we should be watching. And that's the only option available on the channel. If both of them were on the channel, I would have watched both right off the hop, instead of finding myself in a situation where, morning of recording, I'm like reading about this previous version and going, this seems different. And then I start watching it on YouTube, where it's just been uploaded, the original version, and I'm like, this has got a different opening to it. You totally see the big Spectre thing right off the bat, and the opening credits with the time, with the ticking time, that's like kind of a little slightly later because the movie has like a cold open, and then you're like, wait, and you keep watching, you start going, there's footage in this that's like so good that they didn't believe in the better version. Like, I call foul, RJ.
Are you telling me that the Criterion Channel potentially didn't do something good?
Yeah,
did something.
Well, I'm saying
bad?
I'm holding John Criterion accountable for this bullshit.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
I would for sure.
Absolutely.
Sounds like some real shit. Yeah,
and I try to urgently tell RJ about this egregious.
When did you tell me about this?
Today.
Yeah,
this afternoon in the middle of your workday, I'm sure.
Yes.
And I was like, RJ, you gotta drop everything, abandon whatever you're doing, and get get watching this hour and 11-minute long movie again.
I sure tried.
No,
I sure tried, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, so I mean that throws a bit of a wrench in the works for me, because I feel that I really want to talk about one more than the other, because the other one just seems so, like, I don't know, a corruption of what's so pure in its original form.
So, is there any other physical media of this where you could just buy the physical one?
Well, if you buy the DVD, the Criterion DVD, it's got both. They're both on the DVD, but on the channel, it only gives you the one choice. And I definitely think that the one that's on the channel, the 1970 version, is inferior.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. Do you think that was John's decision?
Probably. That guy's a real piece of garbage. I hate that guy.
Yeah, he's a real Melvin for sure.
Look what he's brought us to. Anyways,
yeah,
that's a whole lot of me just complaining about things that, I mean, I fixed it for myself, but unfortunately, when I'm talking about this, it's going to be a lot of backtracking and like trying to remember which version is for which. But I will say
something that I don't remember. I'll tell you.
Just go on YouTube and watch the Equinox, A Journey into the Supernatural on there, rather than on the Criterion channel. Unless you want to like do a compare and contrast and look at how weird decisions can be made. For instance, in the Jack Wooded version of Equinox, we get the introduction of an entirely new character, like the sheriff. He does not exist in any way in the 67 version.
So there's no Asmodeus?
No Asmodeus.
Because that's a pretty big plot. That's like half of this movie.
And what else does Asmodeus bring to the table?
Kissing. Strange kissing to the camera.
And we also get a attempted rape. So that's
yes, we do. With the weird kissing face. Mm-hmm. You know that weird kissy face, Jarrett?
On his horse. Yeah,
there's an attempted rape.
Yeah.
Luckily,
in the bonus,
just only attempted
in the bonus version to improve on things. And
it's weird.
So there's all those little comments in the new version of it as well, where the dudes make these sexist comments that are not in the 67 version, where it's like, oh, we can't go up there. The girls can't go up there. That's not in the original. That they added that, which is strange to me.
Do you think someone watched it when we gotta spice this up here? This is not as good as it could be. Add some stuff in there about the ladies.
We can't go up to that castle. The girls, they don't bring that up.
Yeah,
it's strange thinking.
How many times have you taken girls up to the castle lately?
Oh, not for a while.
Not for a bit.
Yeah.
Chateau de Duncombe.
The castle.
The castle. Yeah, it's problematic.
Yeah. So, anyways,
what are you gonna do?
Let's go through this movie a bit.
Sure.
So, as I kind of mentioned, the 1967 version, the ponderous opening credits of the clock moving, that is offset. That's like a few minutes into the movie, because instead it opens up with the explosion, the actor Younger waking up on the ground, and he looks over and he sees kind of bloodied lady legs. There's no him going, Susan. Yeah, but we get him standing up. He looks up and he sees the giant specter figure saying, "You will die in 1 year and 1 day."
What did you think about that?
Well, in this, it happens right off the bat, and it's cool.
So you're on board with the 1 year and 1 day?
Yep, I'm totally on. I think. I mean, I was down with that. But then we get the whole thing of him running, but it seems to be a lot more truncated here. It's just like he runs through the woods for a little bit, and then he gets onto that bridge. He sees a car coming, but when the car's coming, there is clearly a person driving the car, and it hits him. But then there's a shot later of um, the ghost car
Yeah.
in the 1970 version is better than in the 1967 version.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say like the ghost car that I saw didn't look bad. I was like, it looks okay.
Because that actually it's actually the attention is there to make sure you know it's a ghost car. In 67,
Yeah.
there's like a person driving the car, and then they cut away, and then they show, it was like, oh, then there wasn't anyone in the car. Anyway, then the guy gets picked up. He's fine. And then we get the credits, which makes way more sense because now the time thing is driven home completely rather than in the 70 version where it has this vague, like, why is there a clock? And then we don't find out about the 1 year, 1 day thing till like the very end.
Yeah.
This movie like says, okay, here it is. We don't want any ambiguity. We want it all like loaded up at front, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with like EC Comics level writing.
I think that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
So again, Edge 1967 version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So weird differences, but yeah, ghost car.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And then
for the
like,
kids.
so yeah, the 1970 version, there's a whole lot of hospital shit, like people being wheeled in and out of a hospital, being interviewed in their hospital bed.
Mm-hmm.
All that's just chopped right out. You don't need any of that because it just pretty well transitions to the newspaper man coming to do an interview with the man who's in the hospital, kind of in the sanitarium. He's like, he's gone crazy, and this is the day where he said, "I'm going to die on this day."
Do you think it's going to happen?
Probably.
Did you believe it when you saw it?
Yeah, absolutely. I said, "Oh my god,
okay.
Oh my god, she's alive."
You went, "Oh shit!"
Or shit. It's the devil guy, or whatever.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 'Cause we also get a bit where I guess when he's in a state of shock, he gets shown a picture of Dr. Waterman, aka Fritz Lieber, and he goes, "Oh," and he has a flashback.
He does have a flashback, and then that's when the real movie begins.
Yeah. So then we get to the bottom of the case with some interviews. I wrote that for some reason. Anyway, when I was watching 1970 version, there's like this really obnoxious voiceover narration, and it's all over this footage of this couple going, or these two couples going out to the mountains, and it's just like clearly there was footage shot, but they don't want to have any of the dialogue. And I made the note that time before realizing what was going on, when acting is probably so bad that they put voiceover narration describing what's going on. This is a good trope. I think we witnessed in Roger Corman films a bunch, and probably some Fred Olen Ray as well.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but a little bit.
So in 1967 though, we get all that dialogue. And you know what, RJ? My thoughts on that are that's the good stuff that movies need. I mean, there is examples where it works fairly well, where you just like completely chop that right out, like Evil Dead. Evil Dead starts off with the people in the car, and they're just going to the cabin. There's no messing around.
Why do you need to complicate it? Just make it what it is, you know?
Well, sometimes
it just is what it is.
Well, this is that's more of a classic structure of like, here's the characters before everything breaks down, leaving their house, loading up the car with their picnic baskets.
What would you put in your picnic basket?
Probably some sort of jams, some loaf of bread, a nice a butter knife, probably maybe even a better bread knife. I don't know. That'd be a good start, right? Some cheeses.
Cheeses?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
some berries.
Yeah, they got some berries. They got some Kentucky Fried in theirs. They say
some Kifka.
Some Kifka. Well, they mention, they don't say the words exactly, but they mention the Colonel or something like that, and then the chicken, and you go, They got some chicken in this place, huh? And I liked it. I was like, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's
they
cool.
got some before they left town, off camera.
I was off panel, Jared.
Yeah.
Off panel. Don't confuse that. Okay.
So in the 1967 version, they're driving along. The octopus monster just shows up and destroys the cabin right then and there.
It's not like 40 minutes in.
Yeah, it's not like it stalking Dr. Waterman while he's hiding out in the house and it's getting him. It happened right before they arrived. This is just like, it's just there. It's doing it. And you're going.
I like that.
Yeah, and then
Or
also
I prefer that.
And yeah, also in the kind of the flashback scene, you do see, I think it's Waterman, and you actually see I don't know what to call it, the troll, the blue troll gorilla monster.
Like the big one or the littler one?
The big one, not Andre.
Osmodius calls it the simian.
Okay, the simian.
The simian. So
sure. So you've already seen him as well, like for a little, but for a half second kind of thing, and then we see the octopus, and I was like, what the fuck? Like this is a total reworking. Like these two edits, like they're so different. Well, they tell the same story, but scenes just appear in completely different parts. Let's see here. So we got this. Yeah, we got the octopus destroying the cabin, and like pretty well as soon as they arrive, they see the cabin's blown, like kind of wrecked, and then they look over and they go, "Oh, hey, there's the castle." Yeah, and that's like at 21 minutes in to the movie, so I'm not sure what the difference is timeline wise with 1970. There is one bit here that I thought was very funny, where they start going toward the castle, and I think like one of the guys says to the rest of them, "Careful!" as they're just walking across a perfectly flat piece of ground.
Well, I mean, the ground doesn't have to be bumpy for you to have an accident, Jared. Accidents happen.
To roll an ankle.
Yeah, accidents happen, dude. Like anywhere you go, you're in danger. You know what I mean? Like you're at risk of something.
Well, that's one way of living life.
Well, I don't want you to get your hopes up. You could go at any time.
Yeah.
Okay. You personally.
That's fine.
You could go at any time.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
I mean, that is also very true. So.
No. Then we get crazy sounds from the cave.
Cave?
The Bronson Cave.
The Bronson Cave?
Yeah.
What kind of sounds are they? Could you replicate that?
I could never do justice to the cave.
I mean,
I think it's. I don't know. I think it's Bronson Cave. It's one of those.
Is it a Chuck Bronson Cave or
not Chuck?
Not a Chuck Bronson Cave.
No.
Yeah.
But we get a nice scene where a bunch of dorks start making torches before going into the dark cave.
So when they're
with cackling,
the way that scene plays out, they're like, all right, let's get some torches together, and they're like, oh yeah, and they like start wrapping up. They just find like that straw and those twigs very conveniently, which I'm not like opposed to. What I had more of a problem with was like, what do you mean make torches? How do you just know how to do that? You know what I mean? Could you make a torch just on demand?
Probably not.
Yeah, who could?
So while they're getting this torch business together, they at this point around the cave they find the V footprints.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what could have made that? And they're like, oh, someone's just messing around.
So those are some crazy gum boots if I ever seen some.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then they go into the cave and we meet old Cave Kook. And he loves to chuckle and laugh and and we get some different, like very different audioscape going on. And I again want to give the edge to 1967.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, and he's just he's not even like a weird old dude. He's just a guy who's just in that cave, right?
Yep.
Like he's just kind of hanging out in there.
Yeah. So what's he doing in there? And it's like, well, he's hiding out from the demon. And he's like, that's the demon you heard. And then, of course, he's got some book that this demon wants. And Where does he have it? He has it strategically hidden under some rocks. That he just like digs the book out, hands it over to him. And I noticed here, I was like, hey, RJ, did you notice this dude's wingspan?
Oh, incredible wingspan, Jarrett.
Yeah.
Incredible. Is it as good as some of our Swedish friends? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to say. But big wingspan.
Then one of the women, I think she goes, that old, or was it her? That old man has put us all on edge. Speaking for myself, of course. It's like, I love it. I like that. I'm like, that sounds like that's like a Twitter post.
That's a good line.
Speaking from my personal experience, don't want to attribute this to anyone else.
Of course.
And then we get the anatomy of a picnic, which at this point in time, they do not try to pick the lock of the book. They don't even look at the book. They don't look at the book for like another 20 minutes.
Well, in the 70s version, it's pretty immediate.
Yep.
Because like they're having the picnic and the guy's just doing it, and the other guy's got a chicken wing and he's like there, and the girls are like, "Come have lunch," and he's like, "I gotta get this book open."
Get your greasy fingers all over this ancient book.
Well, that's good for the pages, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
make them transparent.
Yeah, it helps you flick the pages easier. It's no big deal.
So yeah, if they finish having this picnic, and then old man Waterman just body checks dude. I think it's Jim, and he just snags the book.
Well, how would you get it?
I don't know. That's as good as a plan as any.
Yeah.
And I think at this point too, the castle disappears, and they're like, and they wind up discussing this later. So old man Waterman, the doctor, I think they were going to go visit in both versions. He's running with the book, and then he gets body checked by young Jim, and old man goes down the creek, and he's just dead. His head.
He died?
Yep. He's dead. They pull him out of the water. They set him there. They go leave, and then the guy goes, I forgot the book. And he turns back or something like that. He forgot. So for some reason, they have to like immediately turn right back around, and then the body's disappeared. Bum bum bum.
What about
Which
Asmodeus?
Is, again, no Asmodeus.
Okay, I'll fill in those holes later.
Yeah, I know. I saw both versions, but I don't even care about the other one. But he keeps showing up and making comments. Mm-hmm. There's talk about a moving castle, like Howl's.
Is it the Miyazaki one specifically?
It might have been. But there's a lot of talk about the castle. Like, I want to see the castle. The castle. There's one point where they're like, well,
California.
Maybe it was just the false front of a castle. And then they go, oh. It's like, well, it had to get picked up and moved somehow. It doesn't make any sense. They're trying to figure it out. There's the main guy. Then there's second guy, the beta guy. So there's one of the actors, though. He turns to the other one and he goes, "Hey, Dave." He totally forgot the character's name. It's just in the movie. Yeah. I love it.
I think that's way more representative of real life, though, because there's been times
like on the podcast where it's like, "Hey,
RJ,
right?"
Yeah, I mean that's real life, man. Like I have frequently, J-Dog. I forget sometimes.
Yeah,
I forget very easily. So, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's truth.
Like it a lot.
It's like sculpture. It's truth to material.
Well, it's like poetry, Jarrett.
It rhymes.
It rhymes. It rhymes, baby. So what else happens?
Well, I'm just doing a quick scan here because the location of this movie it's bothering me. I know it's America. Sorry. Okay, it looks like Big Tahuna, Big Tahuna Canyon Road.
Big Tuna Canyon Road? Did you say?
The one and only. Look at that. Bronson Canyon, Griffith Park.
Tell me about your big tuna.
What about La Canada, Flint Ridge?
Flint Ridge?
La Canada.
I don't know about that, man. I'm not into that.
But then we get some invisible curtain action, and everyone's like, "Whoa!" You put your hand in, you take it out. Whoa!
I gotta tell you, it's an effect like I ain't never seen.
No,
I ain't never seen nothing like that ever.
It's pretty cool. And then we get, remember that old guy from the cave?
Yeah. Is he back?
Yeah, he's back, and he gets smashed to death.
What form is he back in?
In clay form. He's a claymation dude getting smashed up by the simian. And it's really cool. I don't know. I think it's really cool.
I think it's super cool. Yeah,
This whole like sequence here reminds me a lot of. I had this like trade paperback from Marvel called Monster Masterworks, and it was just a collection of like that late 50s, early 60s sci-fi monster comics. Like there was Zaz, like
Victor Zaz,
like we know like Fing Fang Foom.
Yeah, is that what? Isn't Zaz the Batman villain?
Well, I think but it's like Zaz. He's electricity.
Oh. And he's related to Fing Fang Foom?
Yeah, well, he's a monster. He's from like whatever their knockoff Monster Island is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty. There's like the Glob, the Thing.
Wasn't that your nickname in high school?
Yeah, it was. Van Doom.
Like Victor Van Doom?
Then there was X, the Thing That Lived. I think that's a good one. Craw, the Unhuman. Zootak, the Thing That Shouldn't Exist.
Wasn't that your nickname in high school too?
Grotu, King of the Insects. Titan, the Amphibian from Atlantis. There's Fing Fang Foom. So cool they brought him back.
I mean, Fing Fang Foom's a pretty cool dude. Very cool dude.
I always love Groot, the monster from Planet X, though. Remember, Groot?
Like the Groot?
Well, this is OG Groot.
Like he's always from Planet X?
Yep. The terror
I heard you were from Planet Sex.
What about the terror of Tim Boo Ba?
Tim Boo Ba?
Yeah.
I know about Tim Boo Ba.
I feel like you don't believe me. Bad. If people look up Amazing Fantasy Marvel comics, like those early ones, they're really great. Love them. I love and this movie totally has that energy, which makes sense. So, did you watch the interview with Forrest Ackerman? On the channel.
I watched the interview with Ernest Borgnine.
Okay, so you didn't get around to Forrest Ackerman. So Famous Monsters of Hollywood, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I know that.
That you know that.
Yeah.
You know what that's all about. You know that story. But he was talking about like how he really puts himself over a lot, and the kids loved him, and they would. But he was also supportive of young creators, and he apparently poked his head in on these guys working away because they were all like big fans of his magazine. And this is totally the spirit of that, like 1960s fan culture.
Which culture are you a fan of?
I mean, I guess I'm going to be a fan of this. I don't know. Why did you thumbs down?
Because I know Photoshop when I see it, Jarrett. I don't care how quickly you did that. Jarrett sent me some pictures that I understand to be questionable, and
Groot. You just don't believe Groot's from the olden times?
I just don't believe that the Groot you sent me is the Groot that we all know and love, personally. You know my Groot, Jarrett? Right here. Wait for it. Wait for it. This is great for an audio pod. Ah, shit. She stopped moving. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah. What were we talking about? Amazing Fantasies?
Amazing Fantasies.
Is that what we were talking about?
I don't know.
There's Groot.
I was looking up Zax.
Zax? What about Zax?
Which was like a Hulk villain. What I was thinking of more, I think is Skittish, aka Blip.
Skij, a skij?
You'll see what I'm talking about. They don't have a nice, cool retro image though.
That can't be real. Skij, a skij?
You'll see.
Come on. Let me see here.
You got it?
Skij.
This is riveting stuff.
Shizzle?
Oh yeah.
Shiz a shish?
Got it. I got the photo. You're gonna post all these later, right? Yeah, absolutely.
There's the blip.
That's
Okay.
the blip. That's sklizzle.
Sklizzle.
That's an electricity language. What do you think the
got-
language of Equinox is?
I got something for you right there. Equinox, it's a strong religious language.
Okay. Cool.
Strong
Cool.
religious.
That's another
language.
thumbs down for cool stuff. So yeah, we get some monster attack action. One of the best little bits is I think they're like hiding between some crevices of the mountains they're in some little canyon passage, and the monster's too big to get in. So he kind of gets a big branch and starts to like do like the thing where like, oh no, something rolled behind right in between the fridge and the counter. So I'm gonna get like I don't know, the fly swatter, and I'm going to use it to like fish it out. You ever been there? Well, he's doing
I'm
that.
still there. Yeah.
He's in there. He's doing that, trying to get the book. And then for his troubles, he gets speared.
Yeah.
Like Roman Reigns spearing Big Show. Remember that?
Did he spear Big Show?
Probably. He spears
Oh.
everybody.
I mean, I don't remember it, but you know, I'm so crazy with my my wrestling.
No. And then we get the poor monster speared, and he dies a sad death as he fishes out his spear. And the people check him out, and there's like a scene where like the hand twitches. Again, this is the 1967 version, real good. And then they sit down and go, okay, I think it's time we figure out what's so special about this book that this giant monster wanted it so bad. And I believe there's a line along the line, I think this book has something to do with the forces of darkness.
Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, absolutely. But then we get the unedited Waterman flashback sequence, and it's so good because in the 1970 version we don't get Skeleton Man with a pitchfork who's telling the people to throw themselves into the bottomless hole. Why would you cut that out of your movie? Why?
I didn't see that at all.
It's not there because it's not in the 1970 version. It's just completely edited out, and it's like this isn't right. It's not right.
Son of a bitch.
So anyway, they're dealing with like this barrier that was created with the book between two worlds, our world and the world of like, you know, evil. And that's what happens. This Waterman guy, he opened up this passageway, and now the other side wants this book too. And there's a cult over there, and they kill themselves. It's rad. So anyway, one of the ways you can defend yourself is, I guess, with a Christian cross. It is so extended in the 1970 version. They're like, do you have it? They just ramble on about this at the picnic. Do you have any Stars of David or anything like that? Anything along those lines? Make sure you put it close to your skin. No, they've got one. They got one thing. They're not trying to all protect all four of themselves. They got one. And the guy's like, I think the girl even tells the guys like, hey, do you want to take my Christian cross? And his response is like, all right. And then we get Andre the Giant. He shows up.
What does he do?
The big caveman dude. He tries to fuck people up. But so Buddy, beta dude, he what does he do? He has the book, and then he kind of runs into the invisible wall, and then the giant comes in after him. But there's this great scene where Beta Man, he's like kind of like, oh, I'm stuck, and he's so part of him, half of him sticking out of the barrier with the book. Take the book quick. It's because the idea is he's being pulled back by the giant, and then he drops the book, gets pulled in. You're like, oh shit. They're struggling for him. I kept thinking, wouldn't it be cool if he got torn in half right now? Sadly, it doesn't happen.
That would have been very cool.
Very
Doesn't
cool.
happen though.
But this is the original upside down or whatever the fuck it's called. See, we were doing alternate universes before anybody else was. This is like Phantasm, Stranger Things, Twin Peaks. Because Twin Peaks full on does the exact same thing with Agent Cooper or whoever going into beyond an invisible barrier,
and then coming back as Bob.
Getting bobbed.
Getting bobbed.
It's like
When's
the
the
original...
last time you got bobbed?
Well, I haven't been bobbed lately, but I've been yassified. You know what yassifying?
I don't. Could you explain?
No, you can look it up.
Nah, I'm not going to.
We're on a tight schedule here.
Gotcha.
And so then so our protagonist goes into the Red Land, and he finds his friend who's perfectly the monster let me go because I can't help him. Let's leave. And then they leave, and they pan over, but his friend's being left behind and he's dead. And you're like, oh shit. I will say that in the 1970 version, there's that shot I think I sent to view where he's like got pits under his eyes. Let's get the girls. We must find the girls where the book is. We must find them. Why would we go do that? So that's a little. There's a one shot of that's totally more worthwhile. But soon enough the jig is up, and the impersonator busts up Jim pretty quick, but. In the fucking 1970 version, RJ, you don't get the transformation scene. And it's like horse shit.
I in the 70s version, I was watching, and when he becomes the demon, I was like, yeah. That's cool.
But he literally, he
just drops in.
Well, he doesn't, but he turns into the sheriff first.
Yeah.
And then he goes over to a ledge that suddenly he's just a demon and flies off. In the 67 version, we get the thing that I sent you where you see him in like half transformation, where he's like red faced and has like little tusks sticking out of his mouth and little horns. And then he transitions into the claymation demon. Then we get a mid-range shot where he like backslaps Jim with his wing and he sends him flying. And then he goes over to the cliff and then flies off. And I go, why would you cut all of that out? Why? It's so good. And they just eliminate it. For some fucking reason. And when I went back and was checking this, I was like, dude, was I just asleep while watching this movie? It's like, no, they took that out. I'm like, this is so much better.
Yeah. It's a real bummer, dude, because the transformation would have been super cool.
Yeah, it's super basic. It's not like gonna blow your dick off, RJ, but it's just there's not a lot going on in this, and this movie needs as much as it can get to like make it something, and they're cutting it out. It's And it was already filmed. Just put it in. Let's keep it. Keep it around.
Throw it in there.
But anyway, so that's horse shit. Then people start getting fucked up by the giant flying demon devil. People getting the one girl, beta guy's girl, she's dead, and then Susan. There's this really great shot of her running away from the monster, the flying monster, and he swoops in and he knocks her off. It's really well done for like this level of production. It looks pretty cool still. It's very effective. And then we get them, the couple are together. They're running into the woods together, and you see the monster when you see a winged monster flying through the branches. Looks awesome. And then they're cowering behind a big cross in the cemetery, and then the demon hits it and it just explodes. He disappears. And then shortly thereafter, big flames come flying at them, and it's like, whoa, this is really apocalyptic. And then there's a big explosion. We get dead girlfriend.
Yeah. What else do we get?
Well, then there's like 2 minutes left in this version. They're finished listening to the recording of the interview done with the patient. The newspaperman's like, well, I thought something cool was going to happen. Well, let me know if a suicide occurs, doctor. Thanks. Bye-bye. And then the devil chick comes.
Oh, so is there in the 67, is there all the stuff like the guy being like, oh, somehow I got his cross. I don't really know how.
No.
And then like before he's leaving, he puts it in his pocket very like explicitly to the point where you're like, is this guy working for the devil, or is he just like a bad dude he's a kleptomaniac stealing stuff?
Yeah, there's nothing like that at all. And in this
That
movie,
really annoyed me.
And this version ends with just the end, whereas the 1970 version ends with question mark. So what I'm saying here, RJ, is so I watched my first viewing of it, and the one before that, the 1970 version. I'd watched it, and I was kind of like, we watch movies like this in May all the time.
Yeah,
and
yes, we do.
It's a pleasant break in terms of the Criterion Creep, to have sort of like a nice light, breezy piece of, I don't know, genre filmmaking that's like non-committal. You don't have to think too much about, and I don't know. I'm at home watching this sort of thing, but upon watching the 67 version, which I think is way better, it kind of makes me a little bit mad that I'd only ever seen the 1970 version. People don't talk about it this way, because I had seen one review, it was from DVDtalk.com, where the reviewer on there said, "Oh, the 1967 version is way better," and I'm like, that's contrary to what a few people on Letterboxd are telling me. But who are these people? Who are these fools? Unless they've got it backwards, and they don't, because both of these are loggable with the exact same poster. So, I don't know.
Oh, which one did I log?
You logged the 1970
the
version. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a bummer.
I think the Equinox is a charming, fun little movie.
Yeah.
And I liked watching it, and I might even watch it again at some point in my life, because it's 111 minutes. It's not too bad for this type of thing. It's got some cool little effects. I mean, the characters are neither here nor there, but they never are in these types of affairs. It's got a nice, like, kind of folk film feeling to it, and I'm always okay with that. Kind of reminds me of the Shatner Esperanto movie Incubus a little bit. That movie is I think really good though in comparison to this, but I don't know. I dug it, RJ.
Good.
What did you think of the Equinox?
Esquilax, Jarrett. Esquilax. So hearing you describe the other movie, that movie sounds rad, like real rad. And it's too bad that they kind of fucked that up. Criterion, that is. But so I watched this Esquilax, and I was watching it, and I was like, I'm on board with this. He's got some cool stuff. And then, like you, as you pointed out before, we watch shit like this in May quite a bit, and you've seen a lot more than I have. But last couple of Mays we've been doing this. I've seen enough of these movies, and I threw this on, and compared to what we watched last week, a new Amore, Anus Amore. You told me, I remember going in, you're like, it's kind of like it'll be a good bridge into what we're doing in May. And I was like, that sounds good. So I threw this on, and I was like, within 5 minutes, I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to watch. I was like, this is the kind of movie I'm in. I'm in the mood for. Good Sunday afternoon viewing. You know what I mean?
Hell, even a Saturday afternoon.
Even a Saturday, yeah. A weekend afternoon, this is the perfect time to throw Equinox on. Weekend afternoon, nothing like before 4, or nothing after 4 or 5 p.m. You got to watch it before then. So I threw it on, and even though I watched the 70s version, which I understand now is the castrated version of this film, I still even like that, because I didn't know there was a better version, but I was watching the 70s one, and I was just like, man, I'm on board with this. People out in the woods, there's a ghost car. I was like, and then when I saw the tentacles destroy the cabin, like 40 minutes in, I was like, ooh, yeah. I was like, I'm really into that. I was like, that's super cool. We got old men in caves laughing. We got the big simian dudes. We got devil men flying around. Like, I was on board with all of that. I thought it was super cool. I also liked, I mean, I know it's like old hat stuff, but I like when like religious imagery spooks off demons. I don't know why. I'm like, yeah, that's fun. I was like, I like that. Like they see a cross, or like some kind of Star of David that's made out of like grass, and they're like, oh, they're like scary. In the 70s one, there was one line that I thought was really dumb though, when the Andre the Giant comes, the guy's holding up his little religious thing, and he's like, it doesn't work. His back is to me. You gotta use yours. Yeah, he's facing you. And I was like, what? I was like, is that the distinction that has to be made? Is that they have to be facing it? And I was like, well, whatever.
They have to see with their eyes.
They got to see with their eyes. I also liked the Black Lodge stuff with the guy going in. I thought that was cool. It's as soon as he comes out, it's, as you pointed out, it's very immediately obvious. He's like, we have to get girls. Bad stuff. Book. Where is book?
He does kind of like at times remind me of Bruce Campbell too.
Oh yeah, this movie reminded me of Evil Dead a little bit as well. A lot. You got Book the Dead, people in the woods reading, possessions, stuff like that. I was like, this has got some Evil Dead vibes to it. So I like that, and then I really liked when the devil was swooping around, just picking people up and stuff. I thought that was wicked. I wish there was more of the transformation scene, because that would have been cool. But
it's just a little bit, but it's something.
Yeah. What's in the 70s is cool enough where when I was watching it, I was like, I'm on board with that quite a lot. I did like the claymation dudes just getting smashed into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool. And even when the guy goes and stabs the simian with the stick, and it's the claymation version of him getting knocked over, I was like, man, claymation stop motion stuff is like that. This stuff looks awesome. They shouldn't stop doing this because of CGI. Like, this stuff looks cool. It's got a lot of charm. So I liked all that. And then the one weird thing about the interrogation was the reporter who comes and takes the cross, I thought was very out of place, because he's like, he comes in and he's just like, oh yeah, I somehow managed to take his cross, even though he was like just told that the cross is the only thing that guy cares about, and it's the only thing he does. And then he's like, somehow it landed with me. And you're like, all right. And then at the end, he picks it up and puts it in his pocket and then walks away. And because in my mind, I was like, is this guy like an agent of the demons taking the cross intentionally? And that's what I thought. But then no, because he walks away and then the girl walks by and she is the agent of the demon coming in. And I was just like, so that guy's just like really shitty? Is that like what that guy's character is supposed to be? So I thought that was weird. And then Osmodeus is also weird. Just showing up on his horse, like in the 70s one, one guy's like, oh, Osmodeus, it means devil. I should have thought of it before. So it's like he just is the devil apparently. But his character is weird because he'll just show up on the horse and be like, littering's bad, and they're like, okay, and then he tries to rape someone, and you go, whoa, this kind of went up a couple notches really fast. And then he's just there, and you're kind of like, all right, Osmodeus, get over with it. But even though the 70s one is maybe not as nice, Equinox is still a very refreshing movie in the Criterion. And when I was watching this, I was like, I don't really know why this is here, but I'm not going to question it.
Yeah,
because I like this.
I'm okay with this. More Equinox, less Anus Amore.
Anus Amore, yes, less Anus Amore, more Equinox, 100%. So yeah, I'm not. I don't know why it's here, but I'm not going to question it. I like Equinox. It's cool stuff. Good stuff.
I enjoyed it a lot. It's good. I liked it.
Very nice.
Your mileage may vary, I guess, if you're into this kind of filmmaking, this kind of entertainment.
Yeah, other people might not be Equinox fans, but we are.
That's right.
And that's all that matters.
Famous Monsters of Filmland.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. So the guys who worked on it, they all went on to do special effects stuff on such films as Star Wars,
What's
Jurassic Park,
What's that?
The Howling,
What's that?
Young Sherlock Holmes,
What's that?
Robot Wars,
What's that?
They Live.
What's that?
And it was written by Mark McGee, the writer of Inner Sanctum and Step Monster.
Who's
and
that?
It got picked up by movie producer Jack Harris, the guy who also produced The Blob. Remember The Blob with Steve McQueen?
I do remember The Blob.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the 80s Blob.
So
Even
have
more.
You ever heard of the expression "so big" school of cinema?
No.
So big, because B-I-G. So it means so bad it's good. So big.
I mean,
Come on.
no. I don't think this is even
I
bad.
had never heard of that before until
No.
reading this here.
No, I'm not. I'm bored with that. No, thank you.
And this same reviewer here also mentions how the sheriff, he screws up his mouth like a non-joking Jerry Lewis.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, full circle.
Full circle. Look what he did there, you guys. Look what he did. Look what he did here. Look what he did there. Good for you, Jarrett.
Absolutely. So you want to hear
for
from
you.
who hates Equinox?
No, those people are going to be major lame.
Mm-hmm.
You
Major lame like Julian, half a star.
Okay.
Wasn't expecting quality from this, but it's just so damn bad. I was hoping for some hilarious campiness with dumb monsters, but the film can't even deliver that. The parts with the monsters are just bad and not even that funny. Everything in between is exasperatingly annoying and contrived. The characters are just so goddamn annoying. I got a few chuckles here and there from some awfully done aspects, but they're so bad it's more irritating than funny. Absolute waste of time. What the fuck, Criterion? You guys couldn't pick a better B-movie? Glad I saw this on the channel instead of spending money on this steaming pile of blue troll shit.
This person in their bio says stopped with star ratings between a time frame, and then I misread that, but now they're doing a bunch of star ratings again.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, terrific. They have a 5-star liked review of Salo. Said, I'm at a loss of words on what to write. All I can say is that the content of Salo has been significantly over-exaggerated in its severity. Don't be one of those guys who says, I refuse to watch Salo. Oh, yeah. And it's really fucking excellent. I would rate it 10 out of 10 if I could. So, big Salo boy, Jarrett. Big Salo boy.
Big Salo.
They only have a few half-star reviews. One is for Equinox. One is for Dirty Dancing.
Mm.
So, like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean?
I don't know about that either. How
Right.
about Mr. Davis 97, half a star?
Uh-oh.
It made me physically ill, but in a good way.
That sounds like a positive review, not a negative one. You know what I mean? In their bio, they have their favorite directors, and then they have numbers beside them. And I don't know what these numbers mean.
Are they ranked?
No, there's repeating numbers. I feel like it's the amount of movies they've watched of them, but that doesn't make sense because it's like, why would it be your favorite if you've only seen 2 of their films? So, like, favorite directors, Max Ophuls, 5, Bellatar, 3, Terrence Malick, 3, Tarkovsky, 5, David Lynch, 8, Kubrick, 9, Gaspar Noé, 2, Jacques Tati, 2, Jean Renoir, 2. What could those numbers possibly mean?
Probably their number of films that they've
They've
watched
seen?
or liked. Yeah.
So they've seen 2 Renoir films, and they're somehow their favorite director?
Maybe they really, really love those 2 movies.
Get
Whatever.
fucking bent. Get out of here.
Come on. RJ, are you quit policing, okay?
Get bent. They 5-starred your favorite film, First Reformed. How do you feel about that?
I mean, lots of people like that movie.
They 5-starred Enter the Void. How do you feel about that?
Movies are pretty cool.
They 1-starred. Now listen to this, Jarrett. They 1-starred Rodeo and Juliet. How do you feel about that?
Brodeo?
Rodeo.
I don't know.
Oh, they 4.5 to Inland Empire. What's that tell you?
That's going to be in the Criterion Collection.
No, it won't.
It is. It's coming, buddy.
Well, I will be long dead before we ever have to worry about that.
Well, we already said Pink Flamingos is the end goal, so...
I'm not going to be around by then.
Oh, you have to be.
I'll be dead by then,
No.
Jarrett. Do you know how many burgers I eat? Come on.
Yeah, but your genitals will be fantastic.
They'll be well maintained, but my heart will be in hard conditions.
Got one more for you. Rob Patrick, half a star. Probably the worst sound editing I've ever heard. It sounds like people are talking to pillows and empty aluminum cans. And then there are cool lines like, no, I don't believe it. Or explosion stove.
That was a cool line. What's the problem there?
I don't believe it. What's wrong with that? Yeah.
I really don't see what the problem is.
Nothing happens for an excruciatingly long time, and when something finally does, our protagonist lob rocks without emotion. Imagine a Ray Harryhausen movie with the attitude of Jay Cutler.
I mean, that's a very specific joke. What if people don't watch sports? What if they don't know who Jay Cutler is?
I have no idea who Jay Cutler is.
It's a quarterback. Woo!
Isn't he according to this, he's a American bodybuilder.
Am I thinking of Jake Cutler?
Jay?
Yeah, I'm thinking of Jake Cutler. Whoops. Anyways, so this dude, Jarrett, they half-starred Wild Hogs.
Yeah, that's fine.
They half-starred Stealing Harvard. You know Stealing Harvard with Tom Green?
Yeah.
It's a terrific film. They half-starred it. This person has a podcast.
Oh, no.
Director of programming at the Olympia Film Society, former San Diego Film Critics Society member, co-host of I-5 Cinema Bound, the Francisco Woodman of your local CVS, him. Oh, that's Jay Cutler?
Yep.
Okay. Jay Cutler's a quarterback.
There you go. Any final thoughts on Equinox? Are you going to go back and watch the 1967 version? Pronto?
I would sure like to.
You should.
I don't know when, but I would sure like to.
It's only an hour long.
Yeah. I would have liked to have done it before.
Well, you can watch it this week and then talk about it next week.
I can't do that.
No rules, baby.
What if I watch it during Creeptober?
That's too long from now.
Yeah, but it would fit.
Well, this is This is like our primer because we're going into May Harryhausen season.
But I did watch Equinox already.
Well, did you though?
Apparently not. I guess.
No, you watched the bastardization of it.
What was the other word we used?
Corruption.
What was the other word we used?
I don't know what's the other word.
I said castrated at one point.
Oh yeah, you did. You did say that. That's weird. Anyway, Equinox. A recommend from the Creeps.
Hard.
Bad sound and all. That's okay. That's all right.
Nah. This is good. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the break, we're in the insane asylum. We've got hours to live. And then
What?
I don't know, some lady shows up that might be the devil. I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention.
What else happened?
But RJ's safe because he's got his cross on.
Oh man, so many crosses in the place. Ain't no demons getting in here.